4th and goal with 5 seconds left against one of the best players in the world. What play are you calling? Well, you'll see what I called in just a little bit. Yesterday, I played a wild game against the number 3 ranked Madden player in the world. That honor belongs to gamertag United EY, who at the time of this recording has a record of 112 and 24 in online head-to-head games, which also happens to be by far the best win percentage in the entire top 100 leaderboard. So in this video, I'm breaking down this entire game and going over the advanced strategies that each of us were using so that you guys can gain some deep insight into what goes on in a high-level Madden game. And as you guys already know, this game was the definition of going down to the wire. But starting off the game, I was receiving the ball first, and United EY kicks off deep into the end zone. I am not going to be greedy and risk a fumble on the kick return, so I take the touchback to start my drive on the 30-yard line. On the first play of the game, United EY is in the dime 1-4 formation, which is in 9 different playbooks. On offense, I'm in Gun Trips X Nasty, which is in my Bucks offense ebook on playbookprofessor.gg, and on 1st and 10, I'm just starting off with my favorite base play. I go through my read progressions, I see Curtis Samuel open on the curl route, and it's an easy first down. On the next play, United EY was using a popular method among pro players for getting his safeties into the box. By coming out in the play double safety go, which causes his safeties to walk down on their own, his safeties will stay in the box even if he audibles into a different play in the formation. Since he's base aligned, I'm not really trying to read his defense pre-snap. I'm simply trusting my route combos and going through my read progressions, and on this play, I've got tight end Dawson Knox open on the out route for an easy 9-yard gain. If we watch this play back, we can see that United EY was attempting to run a 4-man loop blitz out of the play cross 3 fire. So his full setup pre-snap was to make sure he's on auto flip off and has his alignment on base, then come out in the play double safety go, then audible to the play cross 3 fire, then QB contain, and zone out the right side linebacker who is also his user. This is what a successful rep looks like in practice mode when the looper comes in clean. Moving on to the next play, it was a similar story. Without having a good idea of what kind of coverage he's in, I had to trust my route combos and my read progressions, and this time I was able to hit running back James Cook early on the wheel route for a pickup of 5 yards. We can see after the fact that he was once again running the cross 3 fire loop blitz, but it probably wasn't going to come in. On 1st and 10, we can once again see that United EY is using double safety go to bring his safeties down into the box. Yet again, he was running the cross 3 fire loop blitz, and this time his looper was definitely coming in, but I had Amari Cooper open on the zig route, and I was able to get the ball out quick. As you can clearly see on this drive, my offensive philosophy is to read my routes from low to high. If the quick stuff is open underneath, I'm going to take it every time. On 1st and 10, United EY showed off a new blitz that he hadn't used yet, where he switched to the formation nickel 3-3 cub and called the play cover 4 show 2. All he did was drag his safeties down a bit and hover with his user directly over the nose tackle, and that was enough to get his defensive end to come in completely unblocked for instant pressure. From my own testing in practice mode, this blitz definitely isn't going to come in every time, but just having the chance of it coming in makes it extremely effective. On the next play, I used one of my play action setups with my running back staying into block. His user bit down on the play action, and since he was in man coverage, I immediately hit Dawson Knox on the drag with a pass lead to the outside, and then racked up a bunch of yards after the catch. On 1st and goal from the 4-yard line, I went with the play RPO read FL screen in the formation gun double stack, and I'm initially focusing on the read key defender who has an R icon above his head. After the snap, since the read key defender sprinted in, I held down A on Xbox, which is X on PlayStation, to keep the ball with Josh Allen, and I went untouched into the end zone to take a 7-0 lead. Now, since this game happened just a couple days after the latest title update, I was in the process of testing out a new defense in the 3-4 over formation. On the first play of United EY's drive, my user collided with a receiver, and I got called for illegal contact, giving him a 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. On offense, United EY was frequently coming out in the Gun Bunch X Nasty formation, and then immediately audibling over to Gun Trips Tight End Flex, both of which are extremely meta formations this year. I was starting off the game in cover 4 quarters without a specific setup in mind, mind so I could just get a sense of how he was playing. On this 1st and 10 play, he decided to throw at a very guarded Dallas Goedert on the corner route, but since this is Madden 25, it was of course a completion and a first down. On the next play, I tried out some cover 3 match with a man up on the inside trips receiver, again, just trying to see how he would play it. Unfortunately, my seam flat defender ended up leaving Saquon Barkley wide open on the flat route, but an important observation was that my 4-man blitz did come in that time, and I decided I wanted to keep running it all game. On 2nd and 1, United EY continued to come out in Gun Bunch X Nasty and then audible into Gun Trips tight end flex, and this is where I started using cover 6. This time, he kept his running back Saquon Barkley into block, which I'll happily take since that meant he's blocking 6 players to pick up a 4-man rush, and we still got a super fast shed from the defensive line to hit Jalen Hurts before he could get the throw off. On 3rd and 1, I unfortunately wasn't able to get my outside linebacker on the blitz assignment in time because I had been overly concerned with sliding my trip side linebackers out a little bit wider. As a result, there was no blitz and United EY had no pressure at all before finding his middle trips receiver on the inverted zig route over the middle. Now on 1st and 10, he decided that it was time to do a little bit of clock management. Since he would be getting ball to start the second half, he wanted to run down as much clock as possible before scoring in the first half. Therefore, he decided to run the ball for the first time all game out of Gun Bunch X Nasty and picked up a solid gain of 7 yards. On 2nd and 3 though, I got something that just happens sometimes in the 3-4 over formation where the offensive line got all tangled up in their blocking assignments and it allowed nose tackle Ed Oliver to come in unblocked to blow up the run in the backfield. Now on 3rd and 7, I put my zone drop curl flats to 20 and my zone drop hooks to 5 so I could hopefully take away both the sideline and his short routes over the middle in Gun Trips tight end flex. However, United EY stayed in Gun Bunch X Nasty, and what happened on this play was something I had never seen before. Linebacker Nick Morrow here is in a 20-yard quarter flat, which means he should drop straight outside and guard the sideline. However, it appears that because cover 6 is a play with built-in match logic, after the latest title update, these defenders in zone drops can behave a little peculiar. On this play, Morrow in the 20-yard quarter flat initially ran vertical with the solo receiver on the streak, but then he passed him off to the safety playing over top and came back down to step right in front of the crosser for the easy interception. Now, I should have been in the driver's seat here, but United EY wasn't going to go down without a fight. After I initially moved the ball well to get across midfield, United EY surprised me on first down with a cover 0 blitz that hit me before I could get the ball off, and then on second down, he only sent 3 rushers, and I eventually got caught drifting too far outside the pocket looking for someone to get open. I ended up taking the sack, and now I was facing a really tough 3rd and 21. Unfortunately, this 3rd down was by far my worst play of the game. After the snap, I should have followed my own rule of taking the easy underneath routes and thrown to Amari Cooper, who was wide open on the zig, and I probably would have put myself either in a manageable 4th down or maybe even in field goal range. Instead, I got greedy looking at my comeback route and my deep dig route. I noticed that this defender playing in front of the comeback route appeared to be sprinting down to the flat to cover the zig route late, and I thought that meant the comeback route might be safe to throw. Unfortunately, that defender slammed on the brakes and I was late on the throw, and I threw an embarrassing interception to let United EY back into the game. On 1st and 10 with 46 seconds left in the first half, he was able to hit Saquon on a flat route for 5 yards, and I knew I didn't want to give that up again. On the next play, I panicked pre-snap when his receiver went in motion, since that motion receiver was probably going to be on a wheel route, and I had a cover 2 shell on that side of the field. After the ball was snapped, you'll see me switch onto the safety in the deep half in a desperate attempt to try and manually guard the wheel route. Fortunately, our 4-man blitz came in clean, and we were able to sack Jalen Hurts before he could get the ball off. On 3rd and 11, United EY sent his running back out on a streak, and my user was forced to stay inside for just a split second to guard the tight end drag, and as a result, I was just barely out of reach of picking off the throw to the running back. On 4th and inches, he went with a super popular pro concept in trips formations, which is to put his outside receiver on a speed out that's custom route stemmed up 10 or 15 yards. Unfortunately, I had nothing on the field to guard that, and his receiver was wide open along the sideline. Luckily for me though, the possession catch animation kept him in bounds, meaning the clock kept running. Now it's important to note here that the clock runoff from the end of this play to the QB spike took the game clock from 28 seconds down to 19 seconds, plus an additional second for the spike, leaving him with 18 seconds left. This is going to be relevant in just a second. On the 2nd and 10 play, I had my cover 6 coverage shell completely flipped around, and for some reason, I didn't call timeout and was just scrambling to make adjustments. I was able to get my trip side safety onto an outside third, and then basically just had to use her with my other safety and hope I could cover everything deep. With nothing immediately open, United EY chose to scramble up the middle for 7 yards to put himself in reasonable field goal range, but this time when he went to spike the ball, it instantly ran off all the time he had remaining on the game clock, which ended the half. The previous play, which had gained more yards, only ran 10 seconds off the clock, while this play, which gained fewer yards, ran more than 12 seconds off the clock. The important lesson here is that the clock runoff in Madden 25 right now is super inconsistent, so you should always leave yourself plenty of cushion in these situations. Moving on to the second half, on just the second play of United EY's drive, I made another critical mental error. For some reason, I once again had my cover 6 shell flipped in the wrong direction, and as a result, AJ Brown on the seam streak was left completely wide open, and it resulted in an easy one-play touchdown. I knew I had to get back on track, and on the next drive, I continued to trust in Guntrips X Nasty. Things got off to a solid start when on this 1st and 10 play, I was able to connect with Amari Cooper on the crosser for this 21-yard completion. On the next play, I hit my running back Ray Davis in the flat for 5 yards, but if we watch it again, we can see that United EY is making use of the switch stick to take control of different defenders after the snap and try and bait me into throwing an interception. On 2nd and 5, I go back to the running back flat route, and this time, James Cook is able to take it all the way down to the 21-yard line. On 1st and 10, I recognize that on the trip side, this outside linebacker is probably blitzing based on how United EY had been playing defense, and also, I remembered that he had been trying to user the running back flat routes on the previous plays, so my first read here is going to be the tight end up the seam. Sure enough, the tight end was left unguarded off the line, and I was able to connect with Dawson Knox to get down to the 5-yard line. After that, I went with the best run play in the game, which is wide zone in the single back wing close formation. On 1st and goal, I got it down to the 1-yard line, and on 2nd and goal, got stuffed by a great gap shoot, but on 3rd and goal, James Cook went untouched into the end zone to give us a 14-7 lead. Now, after the busted coverage on the last drive, my goal on this drive is to just keep everything in front of me. It's also clear that United EY wants to chew the clock and make this the final drive of regulation because he starts off by running the ball inside and then taking his running back in the flat route for easy yards. I adjust on the next play by putting my outside cornerback in a hard flat, but he counters that nicely with a tight end corner route, meaning I'm gonna need a different coverage shell on that side. On 1st and 10, he runs the ball inside for 4 yards, and on 2nd and 6, he picks up another 2 yards on the ground. Now with time quickly running out, I switch to an aggressive cover 0 blitz strategy. My thinking here is that I can either get instant pressure to disrupt his passes, or if I give up a one-play touchdown, I'll still have plenty of time for a drive of my own to get into field goal range. Now on this 3rd and 4 play, I have one responsibility with my user, which is to guard the running back. Unfortunately, I'm just a half-second late sprinting outside, and instead of stepping in front of the throw for a game-sealing interception, I gave up an easy 1st down. We can also see that United EY was purposely allowing himself to get tackled inbounds in order to keep the clock rolling, and I was forced to take a timeout. On 1st and 10, I missed a user tackle to give up 8 yards and had to use another timeout. On 2nd and 2 though, I was able to make the user tackle on the jet sweep, and that brought us to 3rd and 2. Unfortunately, on the next play, I had poor gap discipline with my user, and instead of plugging the running lane, I got caught trying to get outside, and United EY was able to cut it back inside to give himself 1st and goal on the 4-yard line. On 1st and goal, he ran halfback dive, and we were able to stop him for a loss of 2 yards. He ended up calling a timeout with 13 seconds left, which guaranteed himself 3 chances at the end zone, but also ensured that there wouldn't be time for me to respond in regulation if he scored. On 2nd and goal, United EY took this run outside, and this time I clicked off with my user so I wouldn't get juked out, and then when he cut back inside, I clicked back onto the defender and dove, which brought Saquon Barkley down for just a 2-yard gain. On 3rd and goal, United EY went with an under center pass play, and not only did we have every route completely bagged, but we also got an awesome shed up the middle from Greg Rousseau to bring Jalen Hurts down for a 7-yard loss. Watching the play again, you can see the importance importance of hovering near the line of scrimmage with your user because the presence of my user is what pulled the right guard inside initially, and that gave Greg Rousseau awesome leverage to easily fight off the block and get into the backfield. Finally, it all came down to this. 4th and goal with 5 seconds left from the 11-yard line. I opted for a super aggressive play here where I would once again send the blitz, but I was going to use 10-yard zone drops on both my flats and hook zones to have my cornerbacks and safeties play right at the first down line while everyone else blitzed. What I wasn't prepared for though was that United EY went back to his audible from earlier in the game. He came out in the Gun Bunch X Nasty formation, but then he audibled into Gun Trips tight end flex. I spotted an immediate problem. This middle trips receiver would likely get left unguarded up the seam and split the cornerback and safety, each playing in their 10-yard zones. I wanted to run out there to guard it manually, but I also knew that I needed to hover near the line of scrimmage to help the blitz come in. If I could do this play over again, I would have taken this safety and manned him up on the middle trips receiver, and then I would use her up the seam to guard the inside trips receiver. But in the moment, my mind completely blanked and I did not make that adjustment. United EY snapped the ball and I sprinted towards the middle trips receiver as fast as I could. Just like I feared, his middle trips receiver was open and was splitting my 2 zone defenders. Looking back on this play, I can only assume that his first read was the tight end on the streak on the other side of the field. By the time he looked over to the trip side of the field and threw the ball, my user Nick Morrow was getting into the passing lane and I just barely intercepted the ball as the clock hit 0 to officially secure the 14-7 victory. So that's how I beat the number 3 ranked player in the world. I've never done a full breakdown like this on one of my own games, so let me know in the comments below if you guys enjoyed it and want to see more content like this in the future. Also, if you want to check out all of my schemes, including the Bucks offense ebook that I used in this video, as well as my upcoming Steelers defense ebook, which is a much more refined version of what you guys saw me running in this video, then you can get access to all of it at playbookprofessor.gg. That's where I teach all of my pro level schemes and high level Madden tips, and there's new content going up every single week. So if you're trying to win more Madden games, I truly believe that playbookprofessor.gg is the best place in the community for taking your game to the next level. But that's all I got for you guys this time. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.